Good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up for Thursday, the 8th of February, 2024. Well, another day, another set of records in some of the stock indices. What can I tell you? Be careful about tomorrow. There's a little-known report that comes out right now, and it has to do with, I think it's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And they go in and they make adjustments to CPI levels. And it's an annual adjustment. It can be as little as nothing. It can be 2-3%. But given where we're at, given all of the hoopla around what interest rates are going to do, when they're going to come down, what if you found out, just give you examples, what if they said, we were off on inflation and it's fallen X amount more than we thought it was, and they make that adjustment? What if they come out and they say, no, we have this number, but inflation didn't fall that much more. So higher for longer, or, hey, inflation is down. Should the Fed stay this restrictive, can afford to start letting things move back to the upside. I warn you, this report, a lot of people don't even know about it. It comes out. There are no scheduled major economic data reports tomorrow. What we had today was a day of presidents, and I think it was a one-sided win for the Trump camp. Why? If you were listening, and I did, I love listening to appeals to the Supreme Court on big issues like this, and they typically broadcast them orally, and I was listening to the whole broadcast. And if you were listening to the questions are telltale. We had there the state of Colorado versus Trump's attorneys, and the real question came down, how much power does the state have? What is insurrection? Why does the state get to define what the insurrection is when the courts haven't decided it and Congress hasn't decided that the president caused an insurrection? We know the charges, but it goes beyond that. And this has to do with the ballot. Can a state take somebody that hasn't been found guilty of insurrection and take him off a ballot because the state says, well, he's guilty of it? And we won't know the dealing of it for a bit yet, but if you listen to the questions, it appeared to me, and I afterwards I went right to CNN, I went to CNBC, I went to Fox, I went to the different stations that cover this, News Nation, and almost universally, the scholars that were done, and each one had different scholars, they lent the same way that I heard it, that, you know, it isn't up to the state. This is the law of the land. The Constitution is decided, and the laws by it via the Supreme Court, not the state deciding it. So I have a feeling it was a big win day there. Do I know? I don't know. Giving you my interpretation. You could argue with that I misunderstand it, and I get that. Then the Biden part. Well, let me tell you what I read. An old senile man. So he's old enough, he's senile, he's not a bad guy, he cooperated at least, so we won't find him guilty. Yes, they erased tapes, they didn't want to be found where he had a ghostwriter and they're discussing things that should have never been discussed. All that taking place. I warn you on what this is, that is danger, okay? And now what do we have? We have the special counsel really talking senility. And this is coming on right now. And, you know, it's been there in front of all of us. We've heard about it. We watched the president stumble. Today they were bringing out as he was thinking he was talking to Macron, but he wasn't. He kept mentioning the wrong prime minister, the wrong presidents, if you will, all the way through. Don't get me wrong. We've seen Trump do the same thing. These are two guys that are not in their prime. End of discussion. Neither of them in their prime. Younger people should be in this office. I think that is what we're hearing, and that's what I think we heard. But it does bring up an issue. This is going to be used against President Biden in a big way. Read the words. I write about it in my report tonight, and I've read all the context there. It's fascinating. All right. So as we look at the markets, we can see how the Dow was up. NVIDIA took a little bit of profit. Tesla trying to hold here in the 180s. All right. TLT. Let me tell you a problem in some of these markets. You're still looking at interest rates climbing. I don't know if you're paying attention, but very slowly they're adding here and there. We're back up near 4.2. in the 10-year. You got to keep your eye on that. It's no longer under 4%. You do have other stocks that are still climbing and moving, and we're still getting earnings coming out. And again, on the whole, and we're coming to the end of earnings season, on the whole, it has been a beat year. Lilly ran out of steam. That doesn't mean it's ready to drop. That's not what I'm saying. But you do see that the market past 3 days, just sort of the highs aren't being violated anymore. The pattern is still bullish with higher lows, higher highs. You see that right through here. We've got the market over the Bollinger Band now 6 days in a row. What did I say yesterday? It's not uncommon for stocks to go 7. Futures, it's real uncommon to go beyond 5. I wouldn't say it's often that stocks do it, but they do exceed what the futures do, and often by a number of 2. Now, you see this? At the end of this video, I'm going to be talking the enhanced Bollinger Band course, because you're talking Bollinger Bands. What do you do with them, especially when you get your momentum that you have an embedded reading? How do you trade it? What do you do when that reading is lost? What does it mean for the market? How do you measure where markets may go on it? Very, very, very important. So how you get, by the way, to that education part is you'll move your cursor up here. It'll take you into our education section where our courses are, or you can go to iraepstein.com, and that's where the courses are there. All right. Then we come to Cameo Corp and take a look. This is nuclear. Whoa, down and away you go. So this is one of the few markets that all of a sudden is at the lower Bollinger Band. You don't see that in a lot of the markets. That's where you're at. This is what you've been seeing coming up like in the gasoline fund to the upper band. What do you do when you hit upper and lower bands? It is an area where the pros generally cover. If they're long, they cover longs. If they're short, they cover their shorts. You're losing your momentum here and starting to turn down in the financial services. So I'd be a bit cautious. Even if the market's up from here, you're too overbought, I think, to attract new money coming in the market. You have your fully embedded reading at work here. You hit the Bollinger Band, you bounce away, you come back up to it, you bounce. Learn how to play with this if you want to learn Bollinger Bands. Now, I told you that I suspected 2 days ago that we might be in AMC having had a blow-off to the downside. Well, you lost your embedded reading, just to show you. Okay. You lost it right there. Means you should be going to the 18-day average. I realize it's very close to the market. I'm not being a wise guy, but it's what the market typically does and makes a move to it. And as you can see, that's where you're at. So that number is 415. Today you hit 416. So you get edges in markets, and that's the whole key of the Bollinger Band course. Does everything work all the time? Nothing in life works all the time but taxes and death. But is it a high probability vehicle? Absolutely, in my opinion. RSPD, you're still running for the consumer. Still strong as can be to the upside. Home builders, well, here you come. We're talking, are we going to get a breakout of this to the upside? I keep saying upside because the weather's great. We're setting records in the Midwest again. We're in the mid-50s again. This is February 8th. You have to understand we should be freezing or, 30 degrees. We're nothing like that. And people are going to go out and looking at homes. And what are the home builders going to do? Well, they're not getting a benefit of falling interest rates right now. If anything, the 10-year and the shorter terms have been climbing. But there's ways to buy this down. These are home builders. These are not home owners that already have a home and they might have a mortgage, you can assume. This is how do they work with you and do it. If tomorrow, you take out today's high, you close higher and right at the top part of the range, I would call that a breakout to the upside. So things that I'm looking for tomorrow. Then the energy sector, well, you're back up to areas you've been fighting, the 200-day average, and you're overbought in the market. I'm not excited with that. If gold can get back over 189.30, I think you got a shot then to make your move to the upper part through here. The market's sort of trying to be bullish here. I told traders today that I thought the support would come in at 187.88. As it turns out, they went home with a minor profit if they bought it there. They had a pretty good day of trying to come in at that level, but it's a rough market here. It's just basically a sideways market more than anything. Silver, broke the downtrend. It's now neutral again. And you see momentum's trying to turn up. I didn't say bullish. Seems to be neutral again. And in the copper market, the battleground is there another leg to the downside? It is fighting for its life against the 100-day average. If it lets go, the 34.28 level. Why down? Because nobody's buying the Chinese story that they're turning their economy around just yet. Don't go by the MCHI index that is being manipulated by the Chinese. Go by what's going on with inflation, deflation, and so on. And you see that they've got serious issues in that area. And we call this Dr. Copper because copper tells you how, as a whole, the economies are doing. Yet, while it's been coming down, the odd part is stock indices keep going up, and I think you see that. BND, remember what I just said about interest rates? We were talking to home builders. The lower this go, higher rates are going. In the dollar, we're fighting a battle now. Is there another leg up? Can the market from here move into the 28.60 level, or does it tire right here against the upper Bollinger Band is going to be the question. And the flip-flop of that is FXE. If you can clear 99.46, would you want to then say to yourself, uh-oh, would I want to be on the short side anymore? You might be headed back to the 100 level. That's what I'm seeing in the markets. So, again, learn these Bollinger Bands. They're so important. You can move your cursor up here. It'll take you to the education section where we have our course. It's iraepstein.com under education, or watch this ad, and you can click at any point during it as well and take that course for yourself. It's going to stick with you. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a good day. Welcome. I'm Ira Epstein, and I'm here to talk about my enhanced Bollinger Band course. Now, many of you have taken my regular charting course, and if not, you might think you know something about Bollinger Bands. As you know, Bollinger Bands are an algorithm designed to keep the market trading within it 95% of the time, and on a chart, it will offer on the top part resistance, on the bottom support, and the idea is the market will travel within them. We know that sometimes it latches onto that band, goes up or goes down. Well, how do you play with that? Can you pyramid the positions off that type of thinking? Well, I've applied all three of these into 13 different videos that teach you my concept of it. And from that concept, you're able to work with weekly charts and or daily charts. The 13 videos, each about 7 minutes long. The idea here is not to put you in school forever, but to teach. Now, if you haven't tried my complete futures research, I throw that in as well. Whether you've tried this or not, I think it's worth taking a look at. I think you're going to learn something from there. That research, by the way, covers twice daily market updates for you and access to what I call window envelope numbers, which I think are very important when looking at these Bollinger Bands. The next part is a trial to our charting software so you can make your charts look the same way that mine do. It's that simple. Where do you go with it and how do you get all this? It's simple. You go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. If you go to the word education, everything you need is answered there. You can also call my staff. They'll be happy to help you get set up. I'm Ira Epstein on the road to your education.